There it goes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And thank you, Reverend Jen, for that beautiful prayer. And thank you all for joining me today, for being here, and for you at home for tuning in. I appreciate you sharing your time with me. And it is a really good day, too. Because first of all, it's birthday cake day, and we all like cake day. So happy birthday to all our September babies. And ta-ta-da! Our APTG choir will be singing our next song. Yay! So that really is a good day. So our first song was Who I'm Meant to Be. So let's ask that question. Who are we meant to be? Is there something specific that we're meant to accomplish? Is there something we're meant to do, to share, to become? They're all good questions. Where's the answers? Last time we spoke, I mentioned a post that I read, and it said, sometimes when you're in a dark place, you think you've been buried, but you've actually been planted. Remember that? And I thought that was a great image. You know, that's what's happening. We are getting ready to bloom. We are not trapped in a black hole. Black holes have this negative image. We imagine it's where all life is just being sucked out of it. It's negative, it's unforgiving, hopeless even. But since I read that post that we are being planted, it got me thinking. If that's true, then the black hole, the dark space that we're in, perhaps is the place of possibility, not an ending. It's a blank canvas. It's where we decide, where we choose. It's not a black hole with an image of loss or being lost. It's maybe the sweet spot of creativity. It's just waiting for you to sweep your brush across the palette of your choice. You paint your life portrait. You write your autobiography. So that brings me back again to our question. Who are we meant to be? Is there something we're meant to accomplish, to do, to share, to become? And I read recently 2 things that may help us with our answer. The first one. The truth is, life has no goal at all other than to just experience it and grow with it every single day. So experiencing life and growing with life every single day. I think that's like a partnership, right? You are living in the now, letting life unfold. But it's not just happening. You are creating as you go. Your choices you make create your experiences, which create more choices. Also, your reactions to life create your experiences. And your reactions to your choices and your reactions to other people's choices create more experiences with more choices. So we are not idle in our life when we are allowing life to unfold. We are interacting with it. We are observing, and we are co-creating, and we are experiencing. So it's kind of like being the producer, the director, and the leading lady, all rolled in one. So now in that example, what's the answer to who are we meant to be? Now remember what it said. The truth is life has no goal at all, other than to just experience it and grow with it every single day. I think it is you. Life has no goal other than to just experience it, you, and grow with it, you, every single day. Life happens through us. We are the it. We are the wheels that put life into motion. Life is a canvas, and life gives us the paint, but it doesn't create the art of your life. You do. You decide what it looks like. Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, two men, both seriously ill, were admitted to the same hospital, and they ended up occupying the same hospital room. One patient had the bed next to the window, while the other had a simple wall. The patient having his bed next to the window was allowed to sit up in a chair for an hour every day to help with the fluids draining out of his lungs. The other patient had to spend all his time flat on his back. Both the patients soon became very good friends, and they would talk for hours every day. They would speak about their families, their friends, their occupation, their time in the military, and all about their different holidays. Every afternoon, when the patient in the bed by the window could sit up, he would pass the time by describing to his roommate all the beautiful things he could see outside the window. The patient in the other bed began to live for those 1-hour episodes where the world would be broadened and enlivened by all the activity and color that he was told. The patient with the window seat used to sit by the window and describe to his roommate how the window overlooked a park with a lovely lake. Ducks and swans played on the water, while children sailed their model boats. Young lovers walked arm in arm amidst flowers of every color that bordered the walkways. And there was also a wonderful view of the city skyline that was visible in the distance. As the patient by the window seat described all this in exquisite detail, the patient on the other side of the room would close his eyes and imagine this picturesque view. Sadly, one day, the man by the window seat passed away. The other patient grieved the death of his roommate. And as the days passed by, he started missing the way his roommate described the view out of his room. In a hope to have a glimpse out of the window and the beautiful world outside, he asked to have his bed switched, to be next to the window, and the nurse was happy to make the switch. And after making sure he was comfortable, she left him alone. Though he improved with his health conditions, he was still not able to sit up on his own. But he wanted so much to see what he had missed his roommate describing to him. So slowly and painfully, he propped himself up on one elbow to take his first look at the outside world. He strained to slowly turn to look out the window, and his heart sank as he faced a brick wall. He called his nurse and angrily asked what could have compelled his now deceased roommate to describe such beautiful and wonderful things outside this window when there's absolutely nothing. The nurse responded that the patient was blind and could not even see the brick wall. She said, "Perhaps he just wanted to make you happy." He chose to paint the outside world beautiful and loving so that his roommate, who he knew couldn't move and was having a hard time with life, would have a better image to hold on to. Our choices create our experiences. Our reactions to life, to our choices, to other people's choices, all create our experiences. We can see the black hole as a negative, hopeless emptiness or a vast open space of possibilities where the colors are waiting for you to paint in the lines, the shapes, and the movement. So back to the two readings that I said might help us with the answer about who we're created to be or if there's something specific we're meant to accomplish, to share, to do, to become. So number 2, that states, the purpose of life is to discover your gift. The work of life is to develop it. The meaning of life is then to give your gift away. I think the second saying here by David Viscott is saying that the gift we are given is not fully realized till you develop it, mold it, work it, and ultimately then the reason for its existence is to share it. Whatever is in us, that thing that moves us, gets us all worked up in a good way, like the saying, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And doing what we love doesn't necessarily mean a vocation. It can. It could be a dream to be a healer, so you become a nurse or a doctor or any other modality of healing. Or an artist because you want to bring color into the world of darkness. But as you just heard from my last story, the patient gave color to his roommates through his words. From his heart, not his eyes. I think our gift is whatever speaks to us from our heart. And that's what we do. And trust that it's good and that it serves a purpose and that it matters. But sometimes we get all caught up in what others are doing and we compare ourselves. Like that verse that said, comparing my behind the scenes against their highlight reel. Why do we do that? It doesn't matter what we do or from where we do it. If we are doing what beats our hearts, what speaks to our soul, then that's what will serve the world. Not by being like someone else, or like how we think we should be, or how we think others think we should be. We are our worst critics. And we don't always believe people when they give us a compliment or express how they feel about our work or our creations or our accomplishments. We think they are just being nice and that they aren't telling us really how they feel. Let me tell you another little story. One beautiful spring morning, a young boy went into a grocery store where there was a telephone booth. You remember those? The young boy dragged a milk crate over so he could reach the phone. He reached into his pocket, took out a piece of paper, and began to punch in the numbers that were written on his note. The store owner observed and curiously listened to the conversation that the little boy was having. "Madam," the little boy said, "I am a poor boy. Can you give me the job of cutting your grass?" The woman on the other end of the line responded, "Sorry, I already have someone that cuts my lawn." The little boy insisted, "But madam, I will cut your lawn for half the price of the person who cuts your lawn now." The woman replied, "I'm very satisfied with the person who is presently cutting my lawn. He's doing a really, really good job." The little boy continued, "But madam, I'll even sweep your curb and your sidewalk. So on Sunday, you will have the prettiest lawn in town." The woman said, "No, my person does all of that and more, but thank you anyway. I'm very, very happy with the person who cuts my lawn." With a smile on his face, the little boy replaced the receiver and climbed down from the crate. The store owner, who listened to all this, walked over to the boy and said, "Son, I like your attitude and your positive spirit, and I'd like to offer you a job." And the little boy replied, "Well, no thanks, but I appreciate your offer." And the store owner is now kind of confused and said, "But you were just really pleading with that woman for a job." "No, sir. I was just checking my performance at the job I already have. I'm the one who's working for that lady and cutting her lawn." Cute. But he had to pretend to be someone else before he would believe she thought he was doing a good job. We go to such lengths. We have to trust what we do is good enough. Everyone has their part to play in life. We are not doing things like someone else does it. We are doing the things as we do it. Life is not filled with clones. We are not imitations. We are unique and individual and made purposefully that way. Everyone sees their part and does their part. We don't always get to see the whole picture of how it all fits like a puzzle. Like we are the pieces, but we don't know what the puzzle looks like, what the picture is. We all don't see things the same way, and that's okay. Let me share this with you. A group of blind men heard that a strange animal called an elephant had been brought to town, but none of them were aware of its shape or form. Out of curiosity, they said, we must inspect and know it by touch, as we are capable for that. So they sought it out, and when they found it, they each began to touch and feel it. The first person whose hand landed on the trunk said, this being is like a thick snake. For another, whose hand reached its ear, said, no, this is more like a fan. As yet for another person whose hand landed upon its leg, said, the elephant is like a pillar, like a big tree trunk. Another blind man who placed his hand upon its side said, oh, this elephant is like a great wall. And yet another man who felt the elephant's tail said, the elephant is like a rope. The last blind man said, when he put his hand upon the tusk, the elephant, that which is hard, smooth, and like a spear, it must be. Each of their perspectives were true, just incomplete. So even if we can't see the whole picture, we can trust that our part we play is important and it serves the whole. Whatever part we choose to play, behind the scenes, in the spotlight, either way we choose because it calls to our heart. Some of you know this. This is my looking up Lou cup. There's my little character, Lou. And this little dashes here is the road that his heart is leading. And the phrase is, follow your heart. This cup always spoke to me because I believe if we follow our heart, we can't go wrong. It may not be all roses, but it will be all purposeful and soul rewarding. I read this post that said, lose yourself in what you love. Find yourself there too. Isn't that great? When we follow our hearts, we do find ourselves. Another verse from our song said, I know I was made with a purpose to reach past the surface and live life fearlessly. Reach past the surface means dig deeper, be real, find out what makes you tick, and then be brave and do it, or say it, or write it, or paint it, or teach it. But whatever you do, most importantly, share it. And don't let old ways hold you back. It's never too late to show your heart, to reveal the real you, and to follow your heart. Don't let the past trip you up, or how does that saying go? Don't fall over what you left behind, something like that. Let go of your old images, those old fears. They have no place in your future. They will only serve to keep you stuck. And you can't follow your heart or let your light shine while you're being stuck. Let me tell you another little story. A marine biologist was in an experiment with a shark. He placed a shark in a tank with other small bait fish. As expected, the shark ate all the fish. The marine biologist then inserted a clear fiberglass to create two spaces, one where the shark was and one where the other little smaller fish were. The shark quickly attacked, but then bounced off the clear fiberglass. The shark kept on repeating this behavior. It just wouldn't stop trying, while the small fish in the other section just remained unharmed and carefree, swimming about. After about an hour, the shark gave up. The experiment was repeated several dozen times. Each time the shark got less aggressive. Eventually, the shark got tired and simply stopped attacking altogether. The marine biologist removed the fiberglass. The shark, however, did not attack. Instead, it was trained to believe in the existence of a barrier between it and the smaller fish. The moral here: experiencing setbacks and failures, old mishaps and mistakes that caused old wounds. Many of us emotionally gave up and stopped trying. Like the shark, we chose to stay with past failures and believe that we will always be unsuccessful, or we will always be that old image that we have of ourselves. We build a barrier in our own heads, even when there is no real barrier between where we are and where we want to go. Don't give up, because success may be just one more try away. Instead, follow your heart. Let your light shine and believe that there is good in you to share. Believe there is good in others, even when we think there is not. One more story before we leave. My boss drove a luxury car every day, and it was my duty to greet him and to open the gates for him, as I worked as a watchman in his villa. But he never responded back to me when I said hello or good night or have a wonderful day. One day he even saw me opening the garbage bags that he left outside the villa in search of leftover food. But as usual, he never looked at me and pretended like he had never seen anything. The very next day, I saw a paper bag at the same place, but it was clean and the food inside was covered well. It was fresh and good food, like someone had just bought it from the supermarket. I didn't bother as to where it came from. I just took it and ate it and shared it with my family. After that, every day I found this bag at the same location with fresh vegetables and all that I needed for my home. This became my daily routine. I was eating and sharing this food with all of my family. I was wondering who would keep leaving their food like that, forgetting that it was there. One day there was a lot of commotion at the villa, and I was told my boss had died. There were too many guests coming to the villas, and I didn't get food that day. So I thought that one of the guests must have seen it and taken it. But the same thing happened the second day, and the third day, and the fourth day. It went on like this for several weeks, and I found it difficult to provide food for my family. So I decided to ask the wife of my boss for a raise in my salary, or I would have to find a job elsewhere. After I told her, she was shocked and asked me why I never complained about the salary before. And so I explained about having fresh food supplied to me so that it made it easier to feed my family, and I could live on the salary. She asked, when did it all stop? And I told her the food stopped coming after my boss died. And then I realized it was my boss. Why didn't I ever think of this before? It was him that was supplying my food. I guess it was because I never thought that a person who never replied to my greetings or was kind could not possibly be this generous. She began to cry, and I said, "Oh, please don't cry. I won't quit. I will stay with the same pay." And she said, No, I'm crying because I finally found the seventh person. See, my husband was given this bag full of food, and I knew he was feeding 7 people every day. And I had already found 6. And now today, I found you were number 7. From that day forward, I started to receive the bag full of food again, but this time, his son was bringing it to my home and handing it to me. But whenever I thanked him, he never replied. He was just like his dad. One day as he walked away, I told him, "Thank you," in a very loud and rude voice. He replied back to me to please not be offended when he doesn't reply, because he has a terrible hearing problem, just like his dad. Sometimes we don't see the whole picture, but let's believe that there is good in it. So who are we meant to be? Is there something specific we are meant to accomplish? Something we are meant to do, to share, to become? All good questions. You get to answer. You get to choose. You are not lost in a black hole. You are at a place of choice. Infinite potential. Infinite possibilities. Life is waiting for you to sweep your brush across with your choice of colors. You can describe your world as you see it, beautifully, and then share your vision with someone else that could use some inspiration. Life isn't always easy. It's tricky sometimes. When you can't see the whole picture and everyone's point of reference is so very different, and yet all of it is right. And whether we can see it or not, we all fit together. And if we can be brave enough to let go of our old conditionings and set out on a trail where we follow our own heart and offer assistance to others who are walking the same journey, let them know that they're doing a great job, that they matter. Help them see their light. I may not have the answer to who I'm supposed to be or what I'm supposed to do, but I do know for sure we are not meant to cover up our light or push away what brings us joy, and we are not meant to walk it alone. It said, thousands of candles can be lighted from a single candle. So let your light shine and let it light up the world. Thank you. Namaste. Now for everyone here, take your candles and turn them on. And for you at home, today we are going to share our light with you. And our choir will share their gift of song with you as they sing This Little Light of Mine. So just give us a moment and we'll adjust the camera. Thank you.
Wow.
We're setting up.
Bluetooth mode.
We wanted to see the candles.
Oh, yes, okay. I got you.
Good morning, everybody. We're delighted to be here today. And look, we've grown. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no. I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no. I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under under a bushel? No. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Woohoo! Light it up with a smile today. I'm gonna let it shine. Light it up with a smile today. I'm gonna let it shine. Light it up with a smile today. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Spirit, give me light. I'm gonna let it shine. Spirit, give me light. I'm gonna let it shine. Spirit, give me light. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Take it out to the neighborhood. I'm gonna let it shine. Take it out to the neighborhood. I'm gonna let it shine. Take it out to the neighborhood. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Esta pequeña luz mía la voy a dejar brillar. Esta pequeña luz mía la voy a dejar brillar. Esta pequeña luz mía la voy a dejar brillar. Déjala brillar, déjala brillar, déjala brillar.